Hey everybody, this is Stuff I Heard Podcast, and I'm your host Josh Peak. And welcome back. Today happens to be Saturday, the 19th of October, 2019. Wow, time flies when you're having fun, right? The month is almost over. Holy cow. If you guys are watching the YouTube portion of this, you can see I'm wearing my South Carolina Gamecocks hat. Pretty proud of the Gamecocks last week, pulling off a win against Georgia. Very amazing that they did that. I had no idea they had it in them. So far this year, they've not looked great. They had one great game, but other than that, they've just looked awful. And then they pulled up a huge upset over Georgia, in Georgia, which is amazing. Florida rolls into town today to play them at noon on some channel. What channel is it going to be on? It says, I'm looking at my phone here. It says noon on ESPN. Cool. There is some weather coming up our way. There apparently was a tropical storm in the Gulf Panhandle of Florida, and it is working its way diagonally towards us. So we're going to get some rain. The game is in Columbia, so they're going to get rain probably about kickoff time, and it's going to get worse as the game goes on. So it should make for an interesting day for those guys. This is the Stuff I Heard podcast, so let me talk about some stuff I heard, shall we? If you guys are keeping up with Danny McWilliams on the Stuff I Kind of Care About YouTube page, he did a YouTube video recently about a do-it-yourself gel frame, which I had no idea what it was, but it turns out it was pretty handy. Made it look pretty easy. He shows you step by step what to do. The only thing that was missing is he didn't turn it on to show you what it looks like. I was kind of hoping he would show you the end result of what it turned out like. But anyway, be sure to check him out on YouTube. He's been telling everybody thank you for all the love. Let's talk about some podcasts, shall we? Because I did get a chance to go out of town to work, and part of me going out of town is I get to listen to a lot on the road. So I got to listen to a bunch of Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum. If you guys don't know, Michael Rosenbaum played Lex Luthor in Smallville, and he's done a lot of movies and stuff since, but he's got a great speaking voice. He's really good on his podcast, and episode 79 came out I guess a week ago, is with a guy named Mark Shepard. Mark Shepard apparently played drums for a lot of different bands coming up during, I guess, the 80s and 90s, and he then moved into doing some acting and has done a lot of things. But most recently, he was in the show Supernatural. Apparently he did 8 seasons of Supernatural or something like that. I don't exactly know how many seasons. Listen, this is stuff I heard and I may have heard it wrong. But anyway, he apparently plays a very pivotal character that was killed off. Spoiler alert. He, pretty interesting guy. He's an English fellow. Very well, good speaking voice, but very well spoken. His dad apparently was a famous voice actor, William Morgan Shepard, and he talked about how his dad was in everything, including some animated shows as well as video games. He always played a character that was a very formal Shakespearean British actor kind of voice. But anyway. Really interesting interview. He talks a lot about being on the set of Supernatural and also doing Doctor Who, and he's done a lot. He's a very interesting guy. It's an interesting podcast. Again, it was episode 79, so check that out. Also, I guess somehow Michael Rosenbaum had gotten into a tear of interviewing people from Supernatural, and I realized by listening to the podcast that later on it's because they're getting ready to record their 15th season. I didn't realize that it was on that long. I've worked with a bunch of people that tell me about their favorite shows, and a lot of guys tell me that Supernatural is their favorite show. I haven't watched the show yet. I'm going to. I hear it's really far out there, that it's very, there's a lot of supernatural things, and the main characters apparently are some hunky looking dudes, so apparently it's really easy to talk your wife into watching it with you, or your girlfriend. Even the next interview I listened to was number 80 with a guy named Misha Collins, who is he's got a very dry sense of humor. He apparently did the podcast either through the phone or through Skype, and he was hilarious. He talks about how when they go to meet and greet events that it's mostly hardcore fans or women that come up to them and like, oh guys, I just wanted to meet you. One of those things. So anyway, his interview was very interesting, very different from Mark Shepard. Misha Collins talks about growing up really poor, that his father sort of left them when they were young, and him and his brother and his mom kind of were at times homeless, and sometimes lived in tents, and sometimes lived in shelters, and through government assistance, and just really had a hard time growing up. But it gave him a lot of resilience and a lot of grit, a lot of, I don't know, self-worth, if you'd say. But he got into acting and really excelled at it, and apparently he's been on Supernatural. Like I said, they're getting ready for the 15th season. He said he came on the show about the 3rd season. So again, I don't know the character, I don't know what he plays, but I find him fascinating. Listening to the two guys, I really want to watch the show now. I looked on the previews of additional interviews by Michael Rosenbaum. Apparently he interviews more of the main characters, and so I'm going to listen to those. I just haven't yet. So anyway, let's switch gears a little bit, shall we? Two Bears, One Cave, the podcast, and on YouTube. It's the number 2, Bears, and the number 1, Cave. The October 7th, is it 7th? 17th? 7th? 7th. Yeah. Episode 8. I missed one. I missed writing down episode 9. Anyway, I listened to episode 8 and 9. Basically, they're in the middle of Sober October now, and they're doing the whole, being clean. And part of the challenge of the month between Bert Kreischer, Ari Shaffir, Tom Segura, and Joe Rogan is they're going to challenge themselves to learn something new this month. They're going to take classes on how to do things. And Bert's talked about how great that's been for him, Tom also, but they've talked about how they really have enjoyed some of the classes that they've taken. Bert on this episode talks about learning to free dive with an instructor in Florida. And he goes free diving at like 20 feet. He put some videos up on his Instagram where he's basically got one of those, is it a harpoon? The little thing that fits around you get the bands that fit around your elbow, and you hold the tensioner with your hand, and then you pull the thing back, and then you swim down to depths, and then you can spearfishing. You can spearfish, some fish. So they apparently go out and they're spearfishing, and he talks about in the episode that he goes with some of his openers. He takes Shane Torres and Dave Williams on this trip with him, and they get about 20 feet out from the ship or from the boat, and there's bull sharks swimming around them, and he's like, they're everywhere. I mean, he said, but they're not bothering us. They seem to be fine. He said, but we fish, and of course, as soon as you spear the fish, there's blood in the water, and so immediately you're panicked. You're thinking, oh my God, I gotta get this fish on the boat before these sharks decide they want to snack on me. And he said, he got his fish and everything, and Dave apparently got like 100 feet away and speared a really big fish. And it took a while for him to get back to the ship, and the whole time he was panicking. But they got it on the ship, and apparently part of the tour that they were taking, which is like a tour you can sign up for and do, whatever you catch, they'll help you, they'll clean it and they'll cook it for you. So they got to eat fresh fish right there on the beach after everything was done. Pretty cool. Sounds like a pretty cool experience. Tom was like, oh yeah, let's do that. You think we could do that off of Catalina? He was like, absolutely. He's like, I'll set it up. So if you follow these guys, or if you follow their sober month, or if you're interested at all in spearfishing or anything like that, check them out on their social media. I'm sure that they'll be posting stuff, especially Bert. He won't miss an opportunity to post something. The Body Shots World Tour is still going on. Like I said, I just saw him, a week ago? 2 weeks ago? I don't know. I lose track of time. You guys know. You listen to me more than I listen to me. So anyway, anywho, let's switch gears and talk about the Bertcast, okay? On the Bertcast, I just listened to a podcast, episode 366 with Kyle Dunnigan. Now, I didn't really know who Kyle Dunnigan was, but apparently he's got a very large Instagram presence. I clicked on his Instagram today, and he has like 577,000 followers, and all of his videos are funny little videos of him using like a face swap kind of app, and he's doing these impressions of different famous people in funny scenarios, and it's hilarious. I as soon as I found it, I ended up watching like 10 or 12 videos in a row, and I was like, oh my god, this is funnier than the other one. So anyway, check out Kyle Dunnigan. He's pretty doggone funny. He's also got videos up of him doing stand-up comedy, and his stand-up comedy is pretty good too. I really enjoyed that. If he came to the area, I think I would enjoy watching him. He tells a story that he's trying to work out as a bit, and it's a funny part of the episode. I don't want to give everything away, because Bert sort of works with him a little bit to try and change the story a little bit, so that he's like, let me tell you what I think is funny about the story, which is, you kind of need a friend, especially when you're doing stand-up comedies. You kind of need a friend to bounce ideas off of and say, hey, I like what you did here, but can I give you a tag, or can I give you a direction that I think might help? And it's not that you're helping them create the thing. Well, you are helping them create it, but you're helping them kind of chisel away some of the edges. So anyway, he tells a story about going to a movie theater with a friend of his and sitting in the wrong seat. Apparently they were out in California. There's certain theaters that you have assigned seating. You pay for your seat and you sit there. I think it's one of those dinner theater kind of places where you can have food and drinks and also sit and watch a movie. Anyway, he talks about sitting in the wrong seat. This girl comes up and says, I think you're in my seat. He's like, oh, my bad, I'm sorry. So he gets up and he moves, and when he moves, he gets to another seat and realizes that he's left his phone back at the other seat, so he has to turn around. Excuse me, I think I left my phone. And she hands him his phone. And, he's like, oh, thank you so much. And he said she seemed kind of flirty with me, which is weird because she was there with a date. And he said, so anyway, I'm getting ready to watch the movie, and so I look at my phone and I get a text from this girl that he's like, I had sex with this girl like 8 years ago in Chicago. And he said, and the only thing I could remember about her was that she had a really stinky butthole. And first off, I'm thinking, okay, there's only one way you would know that, and that's because your face would be near that area. But also, that's the first thing you thought about this person as a characteristic. So his friend looks at him when his phone lights up, and he goes to tell him, he's like, I just got this random text from this girl that I haven't talked to, and I haven't seen her since we slept together like 8 years ago. And he says, and as I'm telling him the story, the film breaks, and it says, and I say it like so everyone can hear. He says, not intentionally, it just coincidence. He's like, but I tell it, and she has a stinky butthole. And he said, my friend's hard of hearing. He goes, what? He says, I said she has a stinky butthole. Really loud. And so the whole time he's like, oh my god, oh my god. So anyway, he looks at his phone and he looks at the text and he's like, I don't have my glasses. So I'm like, you got glasses I can borrow so I can read this? So he borrows his friend's glasses and reads it. And on the text it says, I'm sitting right behind you. So the girl that's right behind him, he just said out loud, it's a funny, listen, it's funny, I'm not going to tell the whole thing. It keeps going. It's going to be a bit at some point. He's going to tune it to tell it even funnier than it is. But just the facts of it alone is pretty hilarious. He said he tried it on stage and it didn't do well. And of course, that's why you don't record people's sets when you go to see comedy. When you go see them, like, they're not putting out their, like, this is the fine-tuned thing. Sometimes you got to get on stage and actually perform to find out if it's funny or to find out where the funny is. It's the one job that you can't do on the side and go, yeah, I think this will work. You really have to be in front of people and try. You have to try. So any of you out there who are thinking about, yeah, I'm going to go film so-and-so's, I'm going to go see them tonight, I'm going to film them. Don't do that. Don't do it. If they decide to film themselves, that's fine. They're helping themselves learn. They're helping them, so that they can watch it back later and learn, okay, this worked, but this didn't. This timing was bad, but hey, I did something different here and it worked. It didn't work the other night. Let them do their thing. Enjoy what's there. Respond accordingly. I mean, if it's not funny, don't pander. But don't film them. I mean, seriously. Just knock that crap off. If you guys are doing that, just knock it off. Anyway, let's get off the Bert train for a second. Joe Rogan, episode 1362. Lenny Clarke. He sat down and talked to Lenny Clarke. Lenny Clarke is a very tall, very boisterous, very loud Boston, Massachusetts actor, comedian guy. I used to watch him in stuff back when I was a kid. He would be on movies with Rodney Dangerfield, and him and Rodney were friends, and Sam Kinison and stuff like that. Anytime there was a big event with a lot of party guys, I guess you'd say, he was always in the scene. And he admits on the podcast that back in the day he did enough cocaine to put a dent in Peru. And he's like, I even went to Peru because I was like, hey, I gotta figure out how to get more of this. And he talks about how lucky he is to live through all of that, and how he's like, listen, I've made a lot of mistakes in my life, and the show that I remember him from the most is Rescue Me. In Rescue Me, I don't know if you guys ever watched Rescue Me. To me, it was one of my favorite shows to come out of the 9/11 incident. After the towers fell, the country was sad and hurt and angry, and these genius writers got together and put an amazing cast together and wrote a story about the firemen who survived after 9/11 and what they do to pick up the pieces, and how families are broken, and men are broken, and women are broken, and they don't know what they're doing, and they're haunted by images of their brothers and their families, and it's incredible. I mean, the show is incredible, but Lenny Clarke was a very loud, boisterous presence on screen the entire time, and an amazing character. It's one of my favorite shows ever to watch. But anyway, Lenny Clarke's good on this. He tells Joe all the time, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. Last time I was on here, I got so many people stopping me on the streets and like, oh, I heard you on Joe Rogan. You were great. Because even homeless people, he's like, who'd have thought homeless people would listen to me on a podcast? And he's like, they got iPhones and stuff. Which always raises the question, how can homeless people afford iPhones? Maybe I'm on the wrong plan. Maybe my plan is paying for their plan. I don't know. It's kind of weird. So, anywho, I took notes. I hope you guys are appreciating my notes. I even did front and back notes. I've been taking notes the last few podcasts, and I'm hoping that makes a difference, because otherwise I'm just randomly thinking, what am I going to talk about? So anyway, let's talk a second about Sam's Club. Okay, they're not a sponsor. They're not going to be like, probably not going to want to be a sponsor after this. I'm a little pissed off at Sam's Club right now. I do my shopping pretty early. I wake up early. I have an early life. My job is early. My job's been early since I was in the Marine Corps. Get up at dark 30 and go hit the ground running before the sun comes up. Pretty much my whole life has been that way. Working with my grandfather doing construction, he would get up and be on the job site as soon as the sun came up enough to see. He's like, all right, let's start. So, it's in me to want to get things done. Now, our local Sam's here in Florence, South Carolina, recently came under a lot of criticism because they laying off is a soft term. They fired a special needs guy who has autism, who's been working there for a very long time. And he rounds up buggies, he checks in people as they come in through the door, he greets them, I can't tell you how many times I've seen this guy humping buggies through the parking lot, just rolling sweat, and always, good spirit, real smart guy. I mean, right away he knows who people are. If he knows your name, he'll call you by name. Real nice guy. Works hard. I mean, it's not a matter of him just taking up space in a paycheck. He works hard. And they let him go. They fired him. They said, you can't do the job that's required of you. And we can't have anybody working here that can't do every job. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't there a special clause that says that you should hire handicapped folks to work for you, and we'll give you this special tax break or incentive or something like that? Excuse me. Isn't there something like that in the clause of your business? And it's like, hey, let's do this because it's the right thing to do. I mean, I've always heard that there was a special initiative or incentive for businesses to hire people with special needs. And listen, in the past, I've worked with special needs people before, and if you teach them to do a job, they'll do the job and they do it well, for the most part. I used to work with a girl at McDonald's she'd make fries, and she'd made the best fries ever for a long time. She would clean up trays, she would take out trash. I mean, she couldn't run a register, but she could make fries and she could take out the trash, and she greeted people and cleaned tables and stuff like that. Really nice girl. And I know that at the time there was a special thing involved with, hey, give them a chance to work and we'll give you a tax break or whatever. Why would they be allowed to fire this guy because he's physically unable to do every job in the store when they just decided to change terms of employment? They made a conscious decision to go, you know what, we're going to fire that guy up front. A manager had to sit down with him and say, I gotta let you go. Now here's the question. Was that a corporate decision or was that a local decision? If anybody out there knows somebody from Sam's or Walmart or whoever the heck owns them, or if you happen to know somebody who works up there and knows more information, give me some feedback. Let me know. I'd like to talk about it. But here's why I'm pissed off the most at Sam's. Okay, I was upset over that to start with. But we got a business Sam's card, which allowed us to come in, extended hours or whatever. You get to come in a little bit earlier. And over the course of the years of us using it, they have switched out a lot of registers to be, self-checkout. Which I don't like self-checkout at Walmart or any other grocery store because I don't want to have to bag my own crap. I bagged groceries when I was a kid and I got paid money for it. They don't have those in the stores anymore. Now they're trying to get rid of cashiers too. That pisses me off. But at Sam's, you're buying in bulk. You're buying large item things like toilet paper and big slabs of meat and cases of this and that. And you can just go with your scanner. They don't give you any bags, so I mean you're taking whole cases of things out the door. I don't mind using the self-scanner thing. Matter of fact, that's all I do. So here's my routine, okay? Because I get up early. I would get up early on a Saturday. I'd go have my coffee. I'd go, all right, let's go ahead and get some shopping done. I'd leave here about 7:30 in the morning. I'd head up there. I'd get my shopping done at Sam's. I'd go over to Walmart right next door, get the groceries that I need. Of course, I'd always fuss that they're out of something and they wouldn't fill the shelf, and then I'd have to go over to Food Line or Harris Teeter to pick up whatever they didn't have. And then if there's fresh produce in town, I'd go over by the farmer's market and pick that up, and then I'd come home. Okay? Do my little loop. It's a shame that you can't get everything in one place, but nowadays nobody fills shelves and nobody gives a crap. Well, nobody gives a crap because corporate America just don't give a crap about their employees and they don't give a crap about the customers. And they're like, screw it, if you want it, you'll be here. If you don't, who cares? That's their attitude. That was obviously their attitude about Frank when they let him go. But I went into my Sam's this morning, about 7:30, 8 o'clock, somewhere in that range. And the lady stopped me at the door. She goes, I need to see your card. And I was like, okay. I was thinking, whatever. I'm paying for the extra bonus, the business thing. She's like, oh no, baby, you ain't got the plus card. I was like, the what? Well, it's blue. I was like, okay. She goes, you got to go see this girl over here at the desk. So I go to the girl at the desk and I was like, okay, so what's the deal about the blue? I don't understand. I've been doing this for years. Oh, well, sir, you don't have the plus card. You can't come in until 9. And I was like, what? What? I've been doing this for years. Like, literally, they don't have to do a thing when I walk in the store. I walk in the store, I get my own buggy from the parking lot because I don't feel it's right to get one from inside the store when they're sitting out in the parking lot. I grab one from the turnstile outside, walk it inside, grab my own shit, go up to the cash register, use the little scanner thing, walk out the door, show the little girl my receipt. That's the only interaction I have with a person the entire time I'm in the place. When I show her the receipt. And I wasn't allowed to do that today. She told me to come back later. Come back later. How about I don't come back at all? How about I just let this doggone thing lapse and you just suck it? I mean, seriously. What the hell, dude? You don't have to do anything with me walking in the door. No involvement whatsoever. Walmart's open 24 hours a day. You're owned by the same doggone people. What does it matter? I don't get it. I came home to complain to my wife, and of course she gave me some feedback of, well, listen, I used to own a business with my first husband, and we paid extra for the business license, and there's certain perks that has the thing with the business license because you get a special discount sometimes, and sometimes you get, you get extended hours, and there's little perks that come along with it. And I was like, yeah, okay, fine. And she's like, well, how much was the blue card? I said, well, I asked the girl, and she said it was $100 more. And I'm thinking, $100 more for me to be able to walk in your store 2 hours before you open to the commoners, I guess you'd call it. Really? This is the club now? This is the Sam's Club? You're going to separate people by who can afford to come in at a certain time? Just, you know what? I'm so pissed off about that. Literally, Amazon. I can order anything I want right now and have it delivered for free. Amazon Prime. I can go to the grocery store and get what I want at Walmart 24 hours a day. Now granted, they probably don't fill the shelves because they're bad about that. But I don't even have to do that. I could order everything online. Why would we be beholden to, oh no baby, you don't pay enough money to come in at this time, you got to come in later. Pfft, kiss my butt. Really? I'm so pissed off at Sam's. And the local one. I mean, the thing with Frank, that pissed me off. That wasn't the way to do it. That wasn't the way to treat people. Now, luckily, our local Harris Teeter gave him a job right away. They were like, listen, we like you. We've shopped there before and seen you working hard. We'd love to have you in our community. You know what? If Harris Teeter wasn't so doggone expensive on everything, I'd shop there. I go to Food Line. I could just start shopping at Food Line more. I might do that. I might just do that. I mean, as it is already, I can't seem to get anybody to fill the shelves at Walmart for the stuff I buy. The only thing that Food Line doesn't carry anymore is my sugar-free creamer. So, I don't know. I'm aggravated. I may start doing business with Amazon only. Just ordering things online, have it shipped to the house. Just put on there, deliver Saturday, and just hang out here at the house Saturday, get my groceries. The poor FedEx guy be humping all kinds of crap up to the door. Does it do it through FedEx or UPS? I don't even know. Anyway, I'm just talking crap. I'm probably not going to do any of that. I'm just upset. But I'll get over it. I'm a grown up. That's the thing about being a grown up, is you tend to move past things pretty quickly because you're like, I don't have time for this. I don't have time for this. I just watched a YouTube video or a Facebook video somebody posted of some protest. I don't even know where it was. A bunch of girls holding a sign up blocking traffic in some busy street. And this angry guy in scrubs comes up and he rips their sign and throws it over a fence. And he starts yelling at them, get out of the road, people got to go to work. I got to go to work, get out of the way. And he starts, shoving people out of the way. And I'm thinking, yeah, good for you. There's a right way to protest, but blocking traffic while people are trying to get to work is not the way to do it. I mean, there's parts of this country they'll just run you over. I wouldn't be sad about that. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. That's it. I'm going to end on a down note there. You got to deal with it. If you want to up note, be on the podcast. Give me something to talk about. Talk to me. Give me some feedback. Talk to me. I'm right here. Okay? Y'all take care. Be good to one another. Treat each other kind. If you see Frank at Harris Teeter, tell him you appreciate his hard work. I think that would be good. We need to spread more positivity. And Sam's can go kiss my butt. So, bye y'all. Cue the cow.